All right. Well, we are here with Stella Chernyak. Where are you originally from?
So I would just use this opportunity to introduce myself. Stella Chernyak. I am Senior Director in Windows Commercial Team based in Redmond, in the United States, in Redmond, Washington, Microsoft headquarters. And I am focused on Windows Enterprise Marketing. And I'm thrilled to be here today and talk specifically about Windows 8 in Enterprise and the updates we're doing with Windows 8.1.
That's nice, and that was one of my interests because the adoption of Windows 8 is not being. Our impression is that it's not being the same in Europe as it is being in outside Europe. Let's call it the United States. And I've got to say messages to my readers and also to my students and so on when they ask me about, well, is it really worth to move into the Windows 8 stack, or do they think, these guys at Microsoft, that we're going to throw away all of our hardware just to get new tablets and try to work on that? I mean, what's your counter message?
Well, I would just share what is our approach, and I would say our guidance with Windows 8 to enterprise customers was different, and in a sense, when we shipped Windows 8, we had very strong adoption of Windows 7 going on, and Windows 8 has very high degree of compatibility for desktop applications, so same applications that work on Windows 7 also work on Windows 8, and because of that, we guided customers that it's very easy for them to bring Windows 8 side by side. So we did not ask customers to throw away their Windows 7, but instead we say, bring Windows 8 because it offers new scenarios, specifically on tablets, innovative touch devices, and with new applications. And you have seen some of these customers today, you have heard from them on stage, you have seen in a video. We have actually a lot of adoption also in Europe, but the adoption in Windows 8 was very different in a sense that we have seen enterprise customers bringing Windows 8 tablets to run inside the Windows 7 Enterprise, but specifically for tablets and mobile scenarios. For example, British Telecom. I think you have heard from Peter Scott talking on the video today. He is CIO of British Telecom, and British Telecom has 70,000 Windows 7 machines, but they also have, and I believe, and forgive me if I get that number wrong, I believe it's over 6,000 or 7,000, I don't remember, we have to double check, 6,000, 7,000 Windows 8 tablets running in that 70,000 Windows 7 Enterprise. And that's exactly the scenario. So there is a lot of that kind of adoption. I do want to say that, I will name some customers, but we have vast majority of corporations evaluating Windows 8 tablets and doing these side-by-side tablet deployments. It's not every customer will give us permission to use their names, so I will use just few names of customers who gave us permission, but just in Europe, so there is British Telecom as one example. They have tablets, they have adopted Windows 8 tablets because of security, because of manageability and mobility, right? For their field engineers, we have London Underground. Also for their engineers, they have, London Underground, how they work is they have very few hours in the night to check on everything. So their engineers go and check the status of equipment, and they use tablet and the applications there to enter status and kind of make sure everything is all right, so mobility is great for them. We have Erste Bank here in Austria. We have every bank also. We have Emirates Airlines. We have Italian Post, in Italy, their main post. We have another Italian company, Digital. I forgot the name. We had a blog this morning about the digital agencies that are doing the digital media there in Italy. And we have many more customers who did not allow us to use their name, but we're working with them without publicity to help them deploy. So again, adoption in enterprise is different in a sense that it's not throwing away what people have, but bringing in. But I would also say is when we shipped Windows 8, we also got a lot of feedback from customers about, hey, there is great value in Windows 8 for tablets and apps, but there are certain features we want to see. And with Windows 8.1, I'm thrilled to say that we are bringing these features. You have heard some in the keynote. We're having this strong focus, let's deliver to enterprises what they want, whether it's user experience, things like boot to desktop, control of a start screen, whether it's security, remote business data removal on personal machines to empower BOD scenarios, whether it's management, whether it's general user experience advancement, so it's easier for people to navigate when they use a tablet, when they use a desktop, see the desktop when you need to, leave the desktop only when you need to, these kind of investments.
Okay, but that's interesting. But you've been talking about big companies.
Yes.
Very big companies.
Yes.
The vast majority of our readers or in this case, my students, are not big companies.
Right.
Some they are.
Right.
Dragados or others, but some are not. Mostly they're not. What about them?
Oh, same. Like I was talking about big companies because they are more recognizable. It's easier to use their name. Everybody knows who they are. We have, with Windows 8 and now with Windows 8.1, we target every company from the largest, right, on the planet, like, and from the small businesses that maybe have 5 PCs. And we strongly believe, and we hear back from customers, that Windows 8.1 now and Windows 8 has been offering capabilities for everybody, including consumers too, right? Because like there is a thing. Smaller companies, universities, like educational organizations, they love the concept of Windows 8 and now Windows 8.1 on a tablet. Because on one end you have convenience and portability and mobility of a tablet. You have battery life, you have variety of devices you can choose from, you have seen very small one and like very big ones in the keynote today. You can have these new exciting Windows 8 apps that people build either for internal company use, like Emirates is a good example, or British Telecom is using, or London Underground, or the consumer apps that people put in Windows Store. But on the other end, and I will just finish this, you have Office. You can manage these devices, like with group policy, system center. You have any applications. You can have mouse, you can have keyboard, you can have USB port, you have everything.
But are you forgetting in some way the many users that are still, let's call it, stacked into the Windows 7 environment? Because it seems that Microsoft goes faster than the average company can manage.
So,
you have to understand that I've got to play the devil's advocate in this,
absolutely,
this case.
absolutely.
Right?
In fact, we're very sensitive to companies move at different speeds. There are some companies that are fast adopters, and there are companies like enterprises, larger and smaller, that take their time to train users and standardize their image. Absolutely. So that's why our approach of you don't have to retool all your enterprise, but you can bring these tablets. Because people were playing with tablet concept and with VOD scenarios, regardless of what you have in enterprise, they were starting to bring in. So we're actually not forgetting. We're saying with Windows 8 and now with Windows 8.1 tablets, it's easier to bring them in, whether it's personal devices or corporate devices. So you don't have to rush. You don't have to rush all of your enterprise. We, in fact, on the opposite, we're saying like, just bring in full valuation, just like on these innovative form factors. You can have application compatibility crossing what you have and these new tablets. You can have your management tools crossing. So our approach is to make it easier for people to adopt on their time and their terms. So I understand that we have a lot of smaller companies, and one interesting challenge we had last year when we shipped Windows 8, it's like even like what Steve Ballmer was saying yesterday, I think, on that video. I don't know. Yeah. He said, we talk touch, and there was not enough devices, and that's probably why people got a little bit like pause, right? But now we have devices coming. So that's where we now expect, and we're already seeing that kind of momentum. Now the devices are becoming available, so people can bring in Windows 8 and soon Windows 8.1, and still have the Windows 7 in part of the enterprise and have the tablet.
Okay, because sure, it makes sense. I was telling you a little bit my perception here based on what they demand. I mean, in my case, I am MCT as well, so I teach programming, and a lot of companies still, they don't ask you for Windows 8 applications. They keep on asking for new technologies, maybe including the new stuff like the async and so on. That's very interesting. That makes a fluid user interface, but still they don't get into that. Do you I mean,
Let
have
me-
any insight about?
Let me share you my perspective. Yeah, companies don't ask for a product; they ask for solution for what they need. They have what we found is in many companies, it's either two types of users, or sometimes it's one user and two types of scenarios. There are tablet users, and there are people who sit in front of their desktop and do their work. Like it may be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, and they have their traditional application. So what we did in Windows 8.1 to make it easier for them to just see that Windows 8.1 now is the solution that addresses everybody, tablet user or desktop user. Because on one end, we made the tablet use easier, new navigation, see the desktop only when you need it. On the other end, boot to desktop or start tip, we just made it easier for them, for those people who are more like in traditional mode and companies don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just made it easier for them. So when they start bringing these tablet devices and get used to that interface on the tablet and have that image already in their company, like then the next step is okay, but you can also use it on a desktop and you can boot to desktop for these users. For example, if that all the hardware does not have touch, that's fine. Mouse, keyboard, you can boot to desktop, you have start tip. So it's kind of similar, but it also has advanced security. That's a big deal.
Yes.
Yes, it has security and has many other nice features. It has this assign access if you want to do kiosk, whether desktop or tablet. So we're bridging it for companies to make it like easier and make the transition very, again, on people's terms. Right? When they do hardware refresh, they already have tablets with new OS. Now they can start bringing kind of new hardware and put Windows 8.1. So I think we will see a lot of adoption with Windows 8.1. We're also making sure we provide management tools, deployment tools concurrently with this release, like Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. So, as I'm saying, we hear a lot of positive kind of excitement from enterprises when we talk individually to customers, and people were asking about Windows 8.1 in particular, because all this refinement, like, let me step back and say, with Windows 8 it was very bold reimagining of Windows, and some people got shocked. With Windows 8.1, we kind of refined these new things to make it easier for people to adopt and see where it makes sense.
That's another concern. I mean, let's imagine that whoever watches this gets absolutely convinced with what you said, but the other concern is the cloud. Because there are many people who say, okay, whatever you want, but my data is my data, and it doesn't come out. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's true.
We are very responsible, and some enterprises are very conservative.
How would you convince them that the cloud is secure, is safe, is properly guarded, I mean, is whatever, no? And also, how do you convince them that if they have an infrastructure, like they do, they should pay for that service?
Okay, so first of all, speaking of Windows, we want to make sure enterprises are comfortable adopting new technologies on their term. And so speaking of cloud integration in Windows 8.1, I will speak specifically about SkyDrive, because that's a cloud integration tangent. Right, there is SkyDrive, which is maybe for your personal data, or for companies who have less concern. Like if it's a marketing company, they put a brochure there, some documents, it's less concern. But if they have data that is customer data or some confidentials, they don't have to use SkyDrive. They can use SkyDrive Pro, which is more of a group policy managed, more secure, more controlled cloud, but it's still a public cloud. But they don't have to use that. We also have these work folders, and work folders is fully internal. It's internal cloud. Yeah. So what I think is different companies have different sensitivity about moving their stuff to cloud. And we just give them choices to make sure they use whatever they're comfortable with at their pace. And with that said, we're also, with investments we're making in Azure, and I'm sure you have been to that keynote on Tuesday, right? And you mentioned, you talked to Aaron Kelly. We're making sure companies have a lot of ways to manage and protect their data on Azure solutions. I'm not probably the right spokesperson to go into detail of that, but I just know that we're investing a lot of enterprise strength there. Absolutely. And again, it's just giving companies tools and solutions, flexible tools and solutions, but it's their decision what they want to adopt when. We're not rushing anybody. We believe it will take them time to get comfortable and get kind of their
okay, even if we assume that is correct and so on. The other concern is that most of the times when a company decides to make a change, technological change, of the kind, whatever the kind is, that implies that people in the company has to learn things. So there is a learning curve. And that's money also, money and time. How do you see that learning curve about the adoption of 8.1 or 8.0 or the cloud or those new proposals that Microsoft makes?
It's a very good question. Thank you. And so, yes, enterprises, when they move to a new product, they need to make sure their users are ready. And that's where we really, with Windows 8, will listen to customers. For some customers, I will tell you, like British Telecom is one example, and their user base are savvy people like engineers, and they say, oh, it was like a couple days, it was easy. Some other companies like have a different user base, and they need longer time, and we're very, very sensitive to that. So that's why we listened to customers of Windows 8.1 and made so many changes to user experience to make that transition easier. Make it like more intuitive. So, like for example, like one that I think Brad McCabe was showing in the keynote this morning, you are in your new UI, but it's very easy to move to all your applications and see them all in one place, in group. It's how people like to manipulate. That's not something we just invented at Microsoft. We did usability studies. Like when you're in a desktop, but you need to get to your applications, again, how you get to that, the start tip. Again, it was based on working with customers directly and getting feedback of what is intuitive, what they can do to help minimize that learning curve, help make it intuitive. So now, as we have Windows 8.1 preview out, we just have to wait back from market and hear about what the initial kind of response from customers we have shown that too was very, very positive. Oh, that makes sense. That's easier. So we're refining things.
All right. Well, yeah. I hope our readers and watchers pay very good attention to what you said and start adopting these new technologies, which will be good for all of us.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for your time, and I will inform you as soon as one of these things is ready. Okay.
Thank you, Marina. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish your users good luck, and hopefully you like using Windows 8.1.
For sure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure.